From my experience, anything good in life, you have to work real hard for. And instead of pulling apart, we pull together.
Let's show the world, yo. Let's show the world tonight. 1, 2, 3, Rockets.
It's a classic example of a team that never stopped believing in themselves.
The Houston Rockets on their way to the Western.
Win it!
It's an experience that you can never explain it. It was just something that's so overwhelming.
And the Houston Rockets are the world champions.
Truly one of the great stories in sports. If you had a fictional story like this, they'd say it's a pretty good story, but that doesn't happen in real life.
16 seconds ahead to Clyde. Clyde in the right court. Olajuwon for three. Yes! What a way to end it! The Houston Rockets have won their second consecutive NBA championship.
In 1995, the Houston Rockets took their place in NBA history, joining the exclusive list of teams that have won back-to-back titles. Their stirring victory was a moment of euphoria for the players, the Rockets franchise, and the city of Houston. But championship glory seemed a distant dream in the early days of the Rockets. After 3 years in San Diego, the franchise moved to Houston in 1970. Yet they struggled to find an identity and a place to call home.
The first couple of years was really tough. We had 3 home courts. First game of the regular season down there, our first year was in Astro Hall, where they just slid some stands and threw a floor out there, and then played against some of the bigger teams in the Astrodome. And you didn't have any kind of intimate feel with the crowd. They were only on one side, and then they were cheering for the other team more than they were cheering for us.
I don't think a lot of people really knew who they were. Oh yeah, where they shoot those rockets up? They thought NASA. No, the Rockets, they were that low on the radar screen.
The Rockets finally achieved some prominence in the late 70s with all-stars Calvin Murphy and Rudy Tomjanovich. And after acquiring dominating center Moses Malone, Houston would make a surprising run to the 1981 finals.
Moses Malone still can't get the ball to drop. Here he goes again, and he still can't. Malone pushes it in.
Still, Malone's heroics were not enough to upset Larry Bird and the Celtics, and the Rockets fell back to earth when Moses departed the following year. But new hope would arrive in the form of 7'4" Ralph Sampson, chosen with the first pick in the 1983 draft. Houston had won the selection on a coin toss, and the stroke of luck was repeated the very next year. The team would use the top pick to select another heralded center, Akeem Olajuwon.
Be a #1 player pick in the old draft, there's a lot of pressure. They're picking you over somebody like Michael Jordan. You know, I would hate to be a mistake of a lifetime.
Born in Nigeria, Akeem hadn't played basketball until he was 15. But he was a dominant force by the time he arrived at the University of Houston, leading the Cougars to 3 straight Final Fours, though they fell short of the championship. Remaining in Houston with the Rockets, he would team up with Sampson to form an unprecedented pair of talented big men.
And there are the Twin Towers at their best.
And their partnership would reach its peak in the 1986 playoffs against the defending champion Lakers.
Sampson, a miraculous shot, has given the Houston Rockets the Western Conference Championship.
But just as they had 5 years earlier, Houston fell short in the NBA Finals against Larry Bird and the Celtics.
Play against Boston, they were supposed to win. So saying to myself, well, okay, just like college, we go back next year.
But the next year, an injury would derail Ralph Sampson's career, leaving many to wonder what might have been.
Had Ralph Sampson not been hurt, that dynasty probably would have equaled anything the NBA had seen.
Sampson would never play another full season for Houston, and once again, the franchise began to decline as the next few seasons ended in disappointment.
The Dallas Mavericks sweep the Rockets and go on to play in the second round.
After a while, just playing for the season, knowing that we can win a championship, but it'll be a long shot.
The Rockets would continue to underachieve without a clear sense of direction.
We look totally disorganized out there. You know, we got
gotta have some organization.
Then in 1992, the team made what seemed to be a temporary change as they promoted assistant coach Rudy Tomjanovich to replace Don Chaney.
It just shocked me. It just took me by surprise. And I didn't know if it would last a week, the rest of that season.
Well, he was very nervous. The first thing he said to me was, I didn't really want this job, Kenny. You guys didn't play for Don Chaney, and now I got this job.
The hiring of Rudy was one step, but the team also knew they had to find some answers from within.
We were struggling, and we had a team meeting, and it lasted about 3 hours. And out of that meeting, everyone's like, you know what? Everyone thinks everyone here can play, and we respect everyone. So let's just play.
Galvanized by Rudy's leadership and enthusiasm, the Rockets now began to play as a more cohesive unit, and as a result, they began winning.
Maxwell passes up the three-pointer, behind the back to Olajuwon, back to Max. Max passes off to Akeem! My goodness gracious!
In 1993, Houston would win their first playoff series in 7 years. They carried their newfound optimism into the next round against Seattle, where they would battle the Sonics into overtime of Game 7.
Houston with a chance to tie or win it. Seattle goes to Phoenix. Rudy Tomjanovich, what an agonizing time. Your team playing remarkably well, rallying from last place a year ago.
It was really disappointing, but I believed and the players believed that we were now a contending team and we were going to have a chance to compete for the championship.
As the Rockets prepared for the 1994 season, Coach Rudy Tomjanovich looked to build the chemistry they had forged the previous year. So he brought the team to Galveston, Texas for training camp.
Closeness, a close-knit team was very important to him. So he wanted to find a place to take the team for two-a-day workouts.
And in this new environment, the team would strengthen their bonds.
It's different when you wake up and you open your door, you go into practice, and the guy next to you opens his door is one of your teammates. It made us collective.
When they came out of Galveston, they were ready to go.
The Rockets are in tune with each other. Great balance with everybody involved.
They are on fire.
Now, if the right one don't get you, the left one will.
The Rockets would explode out of the gate, tying an NBA record for the longest season-opening winning streak.
They have been unbeatable this year. The Houston Rockets going to a record of 15-0, and they do it in impressive fashion.
We had an identity that we all understood. We had guys that could make outside shots, shooters like Kenny Smith, Vernon Maxwell. We had a real tough power forward in Otis Thorpe, a tough young rookie in Sam Cassell, who was really a gamer and enjoyed the pressure of real close, tough games. And I can't forget Mario Alley. He was a very big part of our attitude and our fight.
And even when their high-powered offense wasn't clicking, the resourceful Rockets always seemed to find other ways to win.
Robert Horry blocks the shot. Blocks it again. Oh, boy, what hustle by Houston.
We just gelled. That was the best gelling team I've ever been on. Plus, we had the best player in the planet at that particular time, which made everything easy, man.
That player was their dominant center, Akeem Olajuwon.
What a move by Olajuwon. Rockets lead by 4. Rejected by Olajuwon.
There was no stopping it. He had his variety of moves, the dream shake and the fallaways and the up and unders.
Olajuwon came into the game a great talent, not knowing any basketball, just a great talent. I watched him mature into being a great talent that knew basketball, and then when he got to that level, there was no stopping him.
For Olajuwon. Beautiful move by Akeem.
Olajuwon wheeling and dealing.
What a spin move!
We would just be in awe of some of the things that he was doing. If he didn't run somebody down and block a shot, he stole the ball from a guard on the pick and roll. Some of the shots that he made inside had the coaches looking at each other in amazement.
But for the Rockets, it was a collective effort. And as they kept winning, they drew even closer together.
We were playing well. Everybody felt good about themselves. We were making plays. and it just was a good feeling overall team atmosphere.
Oh my goodness! An impossible, implausible, incredible three-point play by Vernon Maxwell.
We felt we were the cream of the crop of the West.
Maxwell, 1 second. Did he get it in time? Yes!
The Rockets rolled their wave of victories and good feelings into the playoffs, sending notice to the league that they were legitimate title contenders. And even on the night when Hakeem Olajuwon received the NBA's highest individual honor, he would look to share the spotlight.
Congratulations on being the 1994 NBA Most Valuable Player.
It's a team effort. They made a difference in my life and my game. So I asked them, that I'll be very honored if we can all go out together and take this trophy because we are all MVP.
It was a scene that symbolized the Rockets' sense of unity as they prepared for the challenge of the playoffs.
Just realize that we have a legitimate chance to win it all. I mean, this is realistic. We cannot blow it this time. If we do what we're supposed to do and stick together as a team, we can't do it this year.
The Rockets had captured a division title, but it was just the first step in their championship quest. They would open the playoffs against Portland, and as he had done all season, Hakeem Olajuwon would lead the way. Hakeem dominated the series, and not just with his explosive scoring. The league MVP had also been named Defensive Player of the Year, and he would give the Blazers a first-hand demonstration of his defense. Winning in 4 games, Houston moved on to face defending conference champion Phoenix. The Suns had Charles Barkley, but the Rockets felt they had the edge.
Well, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves when that series rolled around because Seattle was out everybody, and we feel like we had the home court throughout the playoffs, and we feel like we win all our home games from here on out, we win it.
Go Rockets! Energized by the home crowd, the Rockets were off and running in Game 1 as they opened a commanding lead.
Maxwell in the open court, 3-on-1 fast break. Here's Ori!
But as the game wore on, Houston began to falter.
And Smith lost it, but he lost the dribble. And a steal by Marley. He'll step back behind the three-point line, and all of that hard work goes right down the drain.
Everything was going the Suns' way.
Marley comes right back to him. Bingo. The Phoenix Suns, they upset the Rockets at home in Game 1. Phoenix now has the home court advantage.
Very tough defeat to take. Had control of the game for most of it, and it hurts.
Desperate to even the series, the Rockets would take control once again early in Game 2.
Robert Horry with another block shot. That's his third of the game. Kenny Smith takes it inside. Back to Robert. The Rockets are just stampeding the Phoenix Suns.
But again, the Suns would refuse to fold while the Rockets suddenly unraveled. Houston would watch their seemingly insurmountable lead slip away as Phoenix made a furious second-half comeback. And in the game's final minute, they would have a chance to pull even.
Rockets haven't scored in a week. Rockets need a stop. 38 seconds left. Team jam. 2-1-3. It's tied at 108. The Phoenix Suns have come from 20 points down to tie the game.
Houston must feel like the roof was coming in.
The Phoenix Suns in a remarkable come-from-behind victory.
Unbelievable. And it happened not just once, but twice in the same series.
Well, the biggest collapse in NBA playoff history.
There isn't anybody over there who wants to shoot. So when Hakeem got it, we were all over him like that cheap suit you got.
After squandering both games, the Rockets became the target of heavy criticism.
We heard all the negatives, choke city, no way they're coming back, reading the papers, everybody killing us. Nobody gave us a chance.
So we called the meeting, and everybody opened up. That now the city, all the reporters against us, the whole world is against us. So now we only have ourselves in this room.
When we got into our video session, we put the fourth quarter on first, where